Just started the recording. So welcome to Satsang. As many of you know, if you would like to ask any question, you're welcome to speak your question, or you can write it in the chat box. There is a question, actually 2 questions that came to me, and I will address them in a few minutes. So welcome to Satsang. It's very lovely to be with you. So just a few words about Satsang. It's a meeting. In this meeting, ultimately, we are meeting ourselves. We're meeting the other as ourselves. And in fact, we're meeting ourselves as the other, just as one. We are never anything else but ourselves. We're always that. We are the self. And this recognition is a very important recognition that keeps deepening, keeps ripening, keeps blooming. And the more you know yourself as the aware presence that does not come and go, the more you will find the peace, the wisdom, the inherent happiness of our nature, our true nature. The mind, we all know, just to say a couple of words about the mind. By the mind, I refer to mainly thinking, thoughts, sensations, feelings, images. We know the mind as we are the witness of the mind. We are the perceivers of the mind. In most cases, we believe that we are the mind. But when we examine the validity of that, it becomes clear to us that, in fact, we are not the mind. We are the knowers. We are the knowingness of the mind. We are the witness of the mind. We perceive thoughts. We perceive bodily sensations. We perceive images. And whatever we perceive doesn't affect us, doesn't make us any different than what we are. We remain as we are. Like the mirror, it's a good metaphor. The mirror reflects infinite images, but it remains transparent. Unfortunately, in our experience, as we are identified with the body-mind, we are not the neutral witness of the mind. Instead, we are affected by the mind. We're affected by thoughts, we're affected by bodily sensations, we're affected by feelings, we're affected by perceptions, experiences. So we are like a sort of subject to the mind, like a cork on top of the water, on top of the ocean, is subject to the waves. When the wave is going up, the cork goes up. When the wave goes down, the cork goes down. That is, I would say, our most common experience. Now, the metaphor of the ocean is a very lovely metaphor, because as soon as you go deeper into the ocean and you leave the surface of the ocean, you will find a totally different experience than being a cork that is bobbing up and down the waves. You will find a stillness, you will find a peace, you will find a tranquility that is just exquisite. So it is available to us to be the ocean. But being the ocean is not our conditioned experience. Our conditioned experience is that we are the mind. Fortunately, the teachings are available to us, and the contemplation of the teaching, the contemplation of the Dharma is available to us to go beyond the impression of being the mind and awaken to our true nature, which is the vastness and stillness and transparency of the ocean. So rather than giving a discourse about non-duality, about Advaita, I welcome your questions so we can explore together whatever questions you may have.
Magdi?
Yes, hello, Zoe?
It's Lina.
Oh, hello, Lina.
It's so, I love the bottom of the ocean. I have, at what I have trouble with is when the bobbing of the cork. I love that analogy because it's like being hit in the back of the head. Everything's going along fine, and then something happens, and boom! It's like, oh, how did I lose track? I get thrown off.
Yes.
You know, just so quickly, and just over mostly dumb stuff that normally I'd be able to say, here's a test. How are you going to handle this?
Right.
And I'd like to be like that all the time.
Yes. And that is available to us, but
yeah.
You see, the core issue that we need to contemplate is what is the reality? What is it that is real? What is it that is real, period? What is it? You could say, what is it that is real in my experience? Or what is it that is real? We have like a default mode. The default mode is that I, Lina, I, Magdi, I'm real. I, the body, is real.
Yeah.
And so there is this instantaneous identity with the body because it's believed to be real, it's experienced to be real, it's felt to be real, and so therefore we're experiencing ourselves as this body, as these sensations, as these thoughts. This is what we experience that we are. And so the contemplation is very, very crucial, the contemplation of, am I the images or the sensations that I believe that I am? Or am I that perceives the images, that perceives the bodily sensations. Because what perceives the sensation is not the sensation. Right. What perceives the experience is not the experience. What perceives the thought is not the thought. There is something that perceives. And there is, like, right now, in this very moment, there is a reality that perceives this perception. Whatever it is that perceives this perception, this is what we refer to as I. So, but I is not the body, is not the person, because the person appears as memories, as thoughts. It also appears as feelings. So there are feelings that appear. What is it that perceives them? There is something that is not that perceives them.
Yeah.
So it's really important to return, to keep returning to this contemplation
as quickly as you can.
Well, because as soon as you believe that you are what the thought says you are, or as soon as you believe that you are the feeling or the sensation that the feeling or the sensation says that you are, you have at that moment forgot
who you are.
Forget that you are the awareness.
Right.
And at that moment, you are just subject to what the thoughts or the feeling says.
Right.
If the thought says, oh, you're really, you're no good, or if the feeling says, oh, you're the greatest, you're unhappy or happy, subject to the feeling. But feelings or thoughts, they're constantly changing.
Yeah. It's the old cork. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down.
Constantly changing. So, and what do we do? As you said, all is well, and suddenly, boom, the thought arises, and you find yourself, the top of that wave going down.
Yeah.
And that happens. It's okay. It's important not to judge yourself.
So what you're telling me is to just pay attention.
Yeah.
And when you like today, when I was aware, oh my gosh, am I in a really bad space? I could kill this person.
Right.
So it was having with credit card company.
Well, you have
that of Verizon.
Of course. I mean, there are so many waves in the ocean. Millions of waves. There is no good wave,
Exactly.
It's good when it's going up, and then later is, what goes up, it comes down.
Exactly.
But what we have available to us is that the possibility of contemplating that what I truly am is not what the thought or what the sensation is saying, because it's so quick. The thought that I am this or I am that, or she is this or he is that, is so quick, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But the more we return to,
the more we can catch it.
The more we return to, I am this aware presence.
Yeah.
The silence, the stillness. So it's helpful to, rather than being run by the mind, to contemplate, wait a minute, the mind is not my master. I am the master of the mind. There is a possibility for me to say, no, I am not going to engage in this chatter, this judgmental chatter about this person. Oh, how stupid she was, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to hush up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to remain still. That we could say that. Why not? It's available to us to say, okay.
I get a little red flag that comes up, poop.
Well, stop. Why not? The red flag is the unhappiness we experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
We feel.
Yeah, absolutely. It's if I'm feeling that's a red flag.
That is a red flag.
Hey, this, and then my next thing is this is a lesson for you. What is the lesson in it? And then it's the further back I can go, the easier it is to just let go.
Well, I would say that at the moment that you're experiencing the contraction or the unhappiness, that is a very good moment for you
Yes.
to just be quiet and be still internally. You just say, okay, I'm gonna just be quiet and stay with that. Stay not knowingly. Stay without thinking about it. Just to sort of be there, be fully there. You know, like you're in the tub. You know, you're just there. You're just to be there, to be still, and to experience that moment of silence, that moment of stillness, whatever.
Yeah.
Without labeling it or without categorizing it, without judging it, just to experience whatever it is. We don't know. So yes, at that moment that you feel that sting, any moment really, but during that sting, when you feel that sting, that contraction, it's possible for you to say, okay, well, I'm just gonna be quiet and experience that, but experience it fully, like in the openness, in your complete vulnerability, openness, willingness, participation.
The bigger the sting, the deeper you go.
You see, so approach whatever is arising for you. Approach it as a blank slate. Explore that. I mean,
I like that. I like that. Because I'm too quick to give it a name or to watch it and understand it and blah, blah,
yes,
blah.
yes. Then we are in the whirlwind. Yeah,
right. Yeah. I like that. Picturing a blank slate.
Yes, approach it as a blank slate.
That's good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, I think. With that, there's no success and failure about it. It's a dynamic living process. And we all know the other way of approaching things with a judgment and thinking and spinning and
we know where that goes.
Yeah, right. We know where that goes. We already know. We've done it a million times. Okay, now yes, 1,000,001, 1,000,002, 1,000,003. After a while, it makes no sense to just continue with that. There's nothing in there. Nothing. We know that because we've squeezed that lemon so dry already. We know there's nothing.
We know that pattern.
Yes.
We know where it leads.
You're right. We have the inner wisdom.
Yeah.
It's available to us. So we invite our inner wisdom to be part of the way we are living, as opposed to just repeating the same patterns, the same judging ourselves, judging others, judging ourselves, judging others.
Exactly.
Over and over and over and over.
Thou shalt not judge.
Right.
I think that was the first lesson that Jesus taught.
Right. That's it. Not judge others, not judge oneself.
Thou don't judge. Don't throw all judgments out.
You know
and have a blank slate.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Yes.
Yeah, seeing it clearer.
All right. To be not knowing. Not knowing is a sort of openness. It's not. We think of not knowing as that something bad is happening to us, that we need to know more and more. No, not knowing is an openness, is a transparency, is an availability.
Thank you.
Okay, Laina. Yes, lovely to see you.
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, Anna.
Hi there.
Yes.
I'm not sure about this question, so I'll just get it out and see how it comes.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering about how much or what we're fully responsible for that the body mind does, or how much there's any control in it over what it does.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I ask is because I get these little bouts of sort of overly interest in things like fashion and beauty, and that was my career.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's a bit addictive to me, or sometimes I'm totally not interested in it, and other times I start getting a little bit almost obsessive with it. And that's the reason I asked the question. There's a lot of enjoyment with it. But I feel guilty that it might be wrong. So I think it's quite mixed up with personhood.
The responsibility.
Well, I don't know if I should just think, well, that's just what the body mind's doing, and I'm not the doer, I'm not responsible, or
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
yeah, and whether it's
Okay.
healthy and I'm just enjoying it, or whether it's not healthy in terms of not wanting to be the separate self, not wanting to encourage that, wanting to stay in the peace, in the stillness of.
Well, enjoyment
Mm.
it comes hand in hand with freedom.
Mm.
If you're enjoying,
Mm.
you are free. You're experiencing the freedom and the joy of the freedom. It's beautiful.
Mm.
You're happy. There's nothing wrong with enjoyment.
Right.
Which is different from the pursuit of pleasure. Enjoyment is just it's like the sun shining, and the birds are flying, and they're happy. They find a bird feeder, and they go to the bird feeder, and they're happy. It's just enjoyment.
Yeah.
Now, responsibility, for somebody to be responsible, there has to be a somebody. Yes. So the somebody that is responsible has to be either real or fiction. If it's fiction, end of conversation, right?
Yes.
If the somebody is real, then it must be real in this very moment right now. Yes?
Yes.
So therefore, we look right here, right now, in this very moment at this, where is and what is this person that is then responsible. So we look in this moment and we say, well, where and what is the person? We ask that question. Yes, we ask ourselves that question because we want to come face to face with what the reality of this person. When we ask that question, what is the person? What am I as a person, or where is the person? What usually arises is a thought or a bodily feeling.
Yes.
So the thought, an image, for example, arises, right? An image, you say, oh, that's the person. Or a memory, or a thought, or an image arises. So you say, that's the person.
What is it the same if you look in the mirror then? So if you're looking in the mirror.
So you look in the mirror, you see an image. Yes. Oh, that's a person. Now, this person, when you turn your face away from the mirror, you look out, that image of that person that you are looking at in the mirror is no longer there, right? Now you are looking at the trees, yes? And or if you're not looking in the mirror, if you're seeing an image as a thought, the next thought would be, gee, I would love to have a slice of pizza. At that moment that the thought, I would like to have a slice of pizza, arises, the image of the person has been replaced with the image of the pizza. So therefore, what I'm trying to say is that the person that arises to you as a perception in the mirror, or as an image in thought, is there one moment and gone the next.
Yeah. And same when you look down at the body.
When you look down at the body,
image.
so you see an image, yes? And then you look at the couch, and there is the body's now you're looking at the couch.
Yeah.
So the image that was the body.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
That's
the sensation, for example, you can sense that you're the body.
Yeah.
And next moment you may be completely forgotten about the sense of the body. You're like you're enjoying the flowers. You're looking at the begonia and you're saying, "Wow, very beautiful." At that moment, the sense of the body is not there. You're just enjoying the begonia, and so then that sensation is gone. So the point that I'm trying to come to is that the reality of the person that's constantly changing, whether it's a thought, whether it's a perception, whether it's a sensation, something that is constantly changing, you cannot call it real. Right?
Yes, yes.
Like in your night dreams, you have infinite images. They're constantly changing, butterfly, and then a beautiful field, and then a lake, whatever. Right?
Yes, definitely.
So coming back to your question about responsibility, for there to be somebody who is responsible, a person who is responsible, if it's fiction, then end of conversation. But if it's real, then it's here right now. And as we looked right here, right now at the person, we find that in fact there is no person. There is only awareness, right? So awareness, there is awareness, right?
Yes.
For example, awareness of perception. Look at your hand. There's an awareness of the perception. There is a perception.
Yeah.
There is the awareness.
Yeah.
Now, I am not the perception because now the perception changes and now I'm closing my eyes and there is a different perception.
Yeah.
But the awareness is always there. If you close your eyes, then there is no longer, there is still awareness. So you cannot call awareness a person. Why? Because when you look at awareness, you do not find any physical qualities to it. It has no weight, it has no density, it has no color, it has no viscosity, it has no dimension, it has no place where it starts and ends. Given that it's non-phenomenal, it has no phenomenal qualities, you cannot call it a person.
Yes.
Now let's look at personality from a different perspective. At responsibility. Now, responsibility is the root of that word is a response, to respond.
Yes.
And you can only respond in this moment, right? You cannot respond yesterday. You cannot respond tomorrow. You can only respond right now.
Yes.
And responsibility, the way I like to look at responsibility, is the correct response in the moment, in this moment.
Yes. Yeah.
The correct response has to somehow be connected to what is real. Because if I am responding to something that is not real, for example, if I imagine that right now there are ghosts here, or that Santa is knocking on my door, right? So it's not real, but I'm responding to that. I will get up and I'll open the door and I'll say, Santa, hello. But who am I talking to? Right?
Yes.
So a response has to somehow be connected with what is real. So right now we are having a conversation, yes?
Yes.
There is something real that is going on right now. There is a response right now that is connected to something real, yes?
Yes.
In order to understand the response, we have to understand the reality that is behind, or that is within the response, or that is connected to the response. We have to, one way or the other, look at the reality in order to understand the response. If you are responding to a fire. Somebody calls you and says, "There's a fire." You have to understand that what you're responding to. There is a fire, so you need to understand, I'm responding to the fire. In this case, we're responding to something. So we'd like to understand, what is it we're responding to? It has to be real. That's a key thing. That is key. What is it that is real right now?
Awareness.
Awareness, consciousness, yes. Why? Because awareness doesn't depend on the weather. It doesn't depend on gravity. It doesn't depend on radiation. It doesn't depend on the solar system. It doesn't depend on the molecular composition of a certain element. While everything phenomenal does. The stable depends on the molecular composition of the elements that compose it. It depends on also the conditions. For example, if there is a lot of heat here, if there's a fire here, that table will burn to the ground. It is dependent on the phenomenal conditions within which it exists. Consciousness does not depend on any phenomenal situations.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, because even if there was a fire, the body would burn.
But consciousness will not burn. Awareness does not burn. But when we believe that the body, that consciousness depends on the body, we believe that when the body will burn, that consciousness will burn, will be affected.
Yes.
That's a common, very, very common belief in ignorance. There is this belief that consciousness depends on the body. But I don't know why. I think the reason why there is this belief is because it has not been examined. We know that the body is dependent on consciousness, meaning to the perception of my hand depends on the awareness, because if there is no awareness of the perception, there is no perception. You follow?
Yes.
If there is no awareness of the perception, what is the perception? Right? But awareness doesn't need the perception.
Awareness is like the film projector, but the body, world, mind is the film.
Yeah, you could say that. So, consciousness is self-knowing and is also knowing of perception, sensations, and mentation. In other words, you're aware of thoughts, you're aware of perceptions, you're aware of bodily sensations, right?
Yes.
But also, independent of the body, independent of the world, independent of thought, you, meaning awareness, you know that you are. I, awareness, know I am aware. You know you're aware, right?
Yes.
You do not know you're aware because you're thinking about it.
No.
You don't know you're aware. You do not know that you're aware because you're seeing a tree.
Yeah, it's outside the mind.
Right. You know you're aware directly. I know I am. I know I am aware.
Yeah.
So awareness is self-knowing and is knowing of the world, body, mind. In other words, awareness is in the presence of the mind as well as in the absence of the mind. While the mind is only in the presence of awareness. In other words, there is no such thing as a thought without you knowing it.
Yeah.
So you need to contemplate what I'm saying. You need to meditate and contemplate on this teaching to get the full meaning of it.
Yeah, I mean, as you're speaking, it's a very powerful place that you're speaking of.
So coming back to responsibility, the responsibility is a response in this moment. So it is a response that has to be in accordance with what is real. But usually, how do we respond usually? You say something to me, and I, meaning I the person, go through my filters, and I say, oh, I like what she said because she's praising me. I love you too. Or I may go, oh, I don't like what she said. I don't think she was really praising me. I don't like you that much. This is how we usually respond in ignorance, meaning when we are mistaking the body, mind to be what is real, and we somehow are overlooking the reality of consciousness, our response is biased by the mind.
Yes.
And we find ourselves caught up in the negative emotions.
Yeah.
Right? The anger, the jealousy, the feeling irritation, the feeling unloved, blah, blah, all of these negative emotions, they are due to our responding to the wrong reality, if we can say that. I mean, mistaking the body mind to be the reality.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Yeah.
So definitely. It's really important in our life, once we start to understand the teaching, to live as best we can. It's not about like it's not about like success or failure, but as best we can, to live honoring what is true, what is real, meaning consciousness, and recognizing everything and everyone as that one consciousness, because we're talking about reality, and there is only one reality. There isn't infinite realities. If anybody has any question about that, we can talk about it. But until I hear a question about that, I'm just going to continue that there is only one reality.
Yes.
So given there is one reality, then everything is that. All is that. There isn't something else outside of consciousness. So all is consciousness. So everything that you perceive, that you experience, is consciousness taking on that form. A tree is consciousness taking on the form of a tree. Actually, a tree is a thought and an image. It's a conceptual realm. The conceptual realm is consciousness taking on the form of the conceptual realm. The perceptual realm, the sensory realm, is consciousness taking on these forms. But at the core, consciousness is complete stillness and silence. The transparency of being. The peace of being, the isness of being. Borderless presence.
And how would I know then if, I mean, obviously if you're in a relationship and you're jealous or you have negative thoughts or feelings, you know definitely, you're on the wrong track sort of thing. That's easy to see. But you could be doing something that you think you're enjoying, but it might be the wrong thing because people enjoy too much to drink, or
It depends. If you are enjoying drinking in order to fill a gap,
yeah, true,
or whether you're enjoying drinking because you're enjoying the drink and enjoying being with friends, or you're just enjoying the taste of this wonderful drink
yeah,
that, you know, it's, and even a little bit of the buzz, you know, it's enjoyable. Of the buzz. But if you need the buzz, or if you need the drink, or if you need to fill in, you're filling in a gap, you will know that if you're looking. If you're not looking, you don't know. You're in ignorance. But if you're looking,
yeah,
meaning if you're contemplating your life, you're contemplating your action, you're contemplating all what's happening within you, because it's there. It's there for you. You can see it. If you're interested, you have to have the interest. Without the interest in truth, this whole meeting means nothing. Might as well you go to the movies, go read a book, go you know, have a nice dinner. If there isn't the love for truth, then
definitely.
This is not for the casual passerby. So you're looking, and you start to notice there is a discrimination within you that starts to bloom. You start to distinguish within yourself the actions that you are doing to sort of try to grasp at something, and the actions that you're doing out of celebration and out of your happiness and your freedom. Because this life is a celebration. It's a celebration of your freedom as consciousness.
I can see that with most things, but it's just, it sounds so superficial, but with clothes and things, I don't know if it's a bit of a blind spot. I don't know if...
You have to look at it, because clothes are, you know, it's one of those creation of the human creativity. You know, there is a certain art in dressing up.
Yeah, that's what I love about it.
And I'm not advocating one style over any other. You could be, you could enjoy wearing clothes that are very loose and allow your body to move and have a certain flow to them, or you may enjoy a certain stylish, you know, fit, or whatever. It's a playful thing. Now, we love to play. There's nothing wrong with playing, but as long as our happiness does not depend on it. There is a certain image, of course, that comes with dressing, but we do not identify with this image. We play with it, you know. I like to wear this shirt. I like to wear this dress. I like to wear this a scarf. Is a certain feeling about it, and you enjoy that, and somehow it fits within
Mm.
how you feel, and that's all.
Good.
It's not being marketed. It's not. Is no dependency upon that.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, Anne.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Okay, Anne. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to turn my attention to a question that was sent to me from Susan. Dear Magdi, what does it take to finish ignorance in this lifetime? Wow, that's a big question. What does it take to finish ignorance in this lifetime? First of all, your passion, your complete passion. You have to understand that this lifetime is no joke. It is given to you for you. Take full advantage of every opportunity that is given to you, without getting wrapped up into judging yourself, without this whole thing about succeeding and failing. But take it at heart. Take the teaching at heart. You hear the teaching. If you're hearing the teaching, you're already very, very fortunate. And then you have to contemplate the teaching. You need to contemplate and meditate and revisit the teaching and listen to it again. And if something you don't understand, ponder upon it. Bring up your questions. Look, keep boring deeper and deeper into the teaching. And of course, you have to have a passion for awakening. And this lifetime is your lifetime available to you for that, for the complete awakening to, from the illusion of the separate me. Contemplate. What am I truly? What am I truly? Am I that appears? Am I the image? Am I the thought? Am I the sensation? Or am I this aware presence? Keep coming back to that until it's very clear to you that you are this awareness. And that this awareness, once you start contemplating it, you realize is not contained in any container. It's not inside the body, outside the body, to the right of the body, to the left of the body. It has nothing to do with the body-mind. It purely is. It is isnness, and I am this isness. Plus, in your life, be watchful not to be passionate about the world, body, mind. You can play and celebrate and enjoy the world, body, mind, but be watchful because we have a virus, and the virus is the virus of identification. We are identified as a person, and we are seeking happiness in the world, in objects, in relationships, in forms, in experiences. And the further we go seeking happiness in the world, body, mind, the farther we are from awakening to the self. We need to be dispassionate about the world, to live the world, body, mind very lightly, putting your attention and your passion onto awakening. Continuing with your question, I wonder if I have enough intensity in my contemplation and Atma Vishara, self-inquiry. How to have enough intensity? I wouldn't somehow the term intensity sounds intense. What's arising here is love. You need to be clear about what is it that you love and to live according to what you love. And if you love truth, you have to live your love for truth. You know, there are people who they love to play the violin. And they travel. They may leave their home and go somewhere in Europe and live close to a teacher, to a master violinist to learn from them. And after that, they may go to another teacher, and they may work and save every penny they have to buy the right violin or the right strings or whatever. I don't know much about violins, but because they're living their love. You have to live your love. Be first very clear about what you love. And if you love truth, then you are clear about that. Then you live your love for truth. I would not be so concerned about intensity. It's a flow. It's a sweetness. And There's a passion. You can't be sitting around and reading the scriptures and contemplating the scriptures and coming to satsang if you don't have a passion for it. It makes no sense. What would you be sitting here listening to these sorts of, let's say, teachings if you don't have the passion, the interest, the fire within? And you have to nurture that fire within. You have to honor that fire within that's within you. You have to honor it. Why? Because it's there. And sometimes it may not be a strong fire, but if you recognize the importance of it, even if it's a small flame, you're careful in not living recklessly so that that flame doesn't get extinguished or dimmed. It's really impossible for that flame to be extinguished, but it can be dimmed if you're living carelessly, if you're living judgmentally and pursuing experiences and pursuing relationships and pursuing, money and fame and images and your thoughts, pursuing your thoughts. If you're not contemplating the truth within and in your life, how you are living according to the principles or the virtues of the self, you will believe your carelessness will work against your intensity or your love for truth. And also, when you find a teaching that resonates for you and a guide that resonates for you, to don't waste your time. You work with your guide, with your friend, and what, as long as it resonates for you, go as far as you can. Go the entire distance. Don't be concerned about anything else. Put that on the front burner in your life, and you will the fruits of your love and your effort will bear fruit. Thank you for your question. So any questions here? Okay, I will address a question that Zoe sent me. I know Zoe is not here, but she would watch this on YouTube later. So, hi, dear Magdi. I wanted to speak about something that has shifted my seeing. What has been running through me is that awareness has already completely accepted whatever is appearing and is aware of it before any I thought arises to judge or resist the appearance. Well, that's very beautiful, Zoe. So this has apparently opened up this space and slow observation in me, this quietness. And then there is the intuition that as my true nature is this awareness, not only does awareness what's appearing without judgment, it is this appearance. Yes, yes, yes. Also, I am contemplating that all motive is ego-driven, even good motives. Like wanting to help people is what throws us out of heaven and brings up the illusion of a separate self, ? Because wanting anything assumes a lack where there is none. Everything is already provided effortlessly, whether or not we are seemingly aware of it. And true help is egoless. So, yes and no. Yes, in that ideally, all is the self. There is really no one to help. There is no separation. And there is no ego. And no one that has any ego problems, since there is no ego. But that's the yes part. But there's also the no part. All motive is ego-driven? No. Even good motives? No. We like to share the love, the beauty, the friendship, the wealth, the health. We like to help others with their health if we're doctors, or besides wanting to make money and make a living, besides that. These are innate qualities of consciousness that are expressing themselves in the dream. When we see somebody who is in a dire situation, we're drawn. There is a certain empathy and a certain communion with them. We feel their hardship, we feel their difficulty. There isn't like any motive to do good. It's within us. It's built into consciousness. It's into the dream. There are these qualities of wanting to share and help and be kind and be loving and be part of the chain, like a link, in the chain. So you could say these are good motives, but it's true that they're not, maybe that's what you mean, they're not the result of thought. They don't arise out of the mind. They arise out of the heart. So you could say that within the heart, there are good motives. And the heart sort of blesses the mind and the body. So we act in helpful ways whenever we can. It's not a mission. It's not about, going out and helping everybody in that is a need in the world. Although that may That may be, you never know. It may arise to you that that's what you want to do. Or not. So there is a certain wanting that is not really a wanting, it's a loving. So we love consciousness. We recognize that's what we are, and that's what everything is, and everybody is. And so out of that love, we have good motives. Let me continue reading in your question, Zoe. You're right. There were some lines from Jean Klein's book that hit me. He wrote, "You defend your image, nothing else." That's true. That's true. You habitually objectify yourself. Yes, habitually. In ignorance, we objectify ourselves, while consciousness is non-objective. You're right. It struck me so much, I guess, because I was listening to my teenage daughter this weekend talk about how some of her classmates, male classmates, were starting to notice her, and she felt objectified. That is the world's definition of objectifying, seeing someone as an object of gratification. However, the original objectification is that we are all objectifying ourselves when we believe we are men, women, children, etc., anything separate. Yes. Yes, the original objectification is the objectification of consciousness. Rather than recognizing I as being the formless presence, the transparency of being, we objectify I by saying I am the body. I'm a male body. I'm born in such and such a year, such and such a town, such and such a country. I'm Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever. And yes, that is the original objectification. And there are, of course, also in the body, that's ignorance, the objectification of consciousness, which is different from objectifying the male objectifying a female or the female objectifying a male, because that is how, thank you, Inga. Yes, Inga, I'll be right there. Because this is how procreation operates. A male objectifies a female objectifies the male. This is in the animal kingdom and the human kingdom. That's how this works. And your daughter is no exception. That is how this game is played. But the core identification, which is ignorance and unhappiness, is identifying yourself to be a body-mind. Now, if you, in your life, once you pass a certain age, past the adolescent age, and you start to have an opportunity, not for everybody, but for some of us, the opportunity of contemplation. It's usually, except in rare cases, it's usually not a message that we don't receive until we are at a certain age. We have to sort of go through the karmic, realm, the initial phase of this life. Now, many of us have glimpses into truth even as young children, but they're quickly forgotten, or they're not explored because there hasn't yet been not enough of the karma has been burnt, so we're ready for the contemplation. Anyway, so it's just a side note about possibly right now your daughter is a teenager, that she's going through the normal phase of her life of experiencing what she's experiencing right now. Okay, Zoe. Well, thank you for your question, Zoe. Inga, you wrote, Magdi, have you got an experience in life where suffering has come to an end? I would say that the end of suffering comes hand in hand with the end of experience. Let's put it another way. The end of suffering is, let's say, an experience that is not in time and space. We usually refer to experiences as being in time and space. I experienced such and such an event. There is a memory that starts that's very specific about a certain experience. So in a pure way of speaking about the end of suffering, which is the Sahaja Samadhi, it is not in time and space. It is not of the mind. So it is a non-experience. So the experience of being established as the self is a non-experience. And you asked me, have you got an experience in life where suffering has come to an end? Suffering comes to an end with the you coming to an end, the separate self, not I consciousness. It is I, the person, the me character dissolves into the self. And yes, Sahaja Samadhi is for real, if that is your question. It is not a myth. What is a myth is that you are a woman, is that you are a person. Because you are not a woman, you are not a person. You are the consciousness, you are the witness, you are the reality that perceives, that is, not the image that appears on the screen. Contemplate that. Contemplate that what you truly are is not what appears, is not the thoughts, is not the sensations, is not the perceptions. It is the complete absence. Your absence is your reality, not what appears on the screen. You are the screen, not what appears on the screen. Contemplate that. And yes, Sahaja Samadhi is for real. Any questions?
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, Esther.
Hi. I don't think there is an echo today.
No, no echo.
I think it's fixed. In the course of day-to-day living, I feel that I'm fairly alert as to what's real anymore. And yet there is a tendency of the mind that I'm detecting that has to do with, I guess it's the being the doer, or it has to do with doing. It's the tendency to, you call it what's next. The tendency to, very, very, very subtle, And I witness it. I watch that tendency. I feel that tendency. And maybe that's the best I can do with it, knowing that it is of a separate self. But it's this whole kind of a need or a tendency to be active, physically active. And would you talk about that a bit?
So Esther, I invite you for the next week a couple of times a day. Maybe you do that already, I don't know. But sit comfortably, quietly, in silence. No radio, no TV, no nothing. Just sit. 20 minutes, half hour, sit silent and be still. And do nothing. Invite yourself to do nothing. So that's the only doing. Invite yourself to do nothing and to sink into this ever deepening stillness. Taste it. Savor it. So that even when you are doing something, what's next, even when you are doing the what's next, there is also that and the what's next is not disturbing that. It's just what's next. And maybe there isn't even what's next. Maybe what's next will be, for this moment, just replaced with just nothing. Just nothing, just this being nothing, doing nothing. Because at the core of our being, we are nothing and we are doing nothing. But this nothing is everything and is doing everything while being nothing and doing nothing. Don't make a problem of what's next. Maybe what's next will reveal what's next. Or maybe what's next will just bring Nothing next. No next. Just being. Keep in mind that body, minds, they're meant for some activity. You know, the men go hunting, the women foraging, you know, in our ancestry. We like to interact with each other and to interact with the world. We like to go out for walks and listen to the birds and feel the weather, feel the warmth of the coolness of the air. We like to listen to the stream, watch an interesting documentary or movie. We like to cook sometimes. Some people like to cook. And also, we may ask, what could I enjoy doing? What would I enjoy doing? That's a good question. What would I enjoy doing? Maybe I'll enjoy lying down, resting, reading a book, listening to music, you know, going for a walk or painting. It's okay. All of that is okay. It does not disturb the stillness. It does not disturb the peace of being. Because our happiness doesn't depend on what's next. The body-mind is looking for what's next. But our happiness doesn't depend on what's next. So we look for what's next and we do what's next or nothing. But we don't lose our center because the mind is looking for what's next. It's okay. Our center meaning the presence that I am, the transparent presence that I am, the transparent presence of being, the true self is there. Awareness is there. Consciousness is there. Sometimes what's next, the question what's next means you can go visit some friends or check out, go downtown to that cafe and enjoy hanging out for a little while, whatever. It's all good. But the key thing is that at the core, you are as you are. You are that. I am as I am. The self. Presence, the presence of being awareness. So we like to play, you know, we're human bodies, body minds, that we like to play, create, rub against things.
Magdi,
Yes.
kind of related to this is a belief that I have. I think that I did not come in to the door of this practice primarily through sitting in meditation. And I remember when I went to India, the group of us would go to like Ramana Maharshi's caves and sit for hours. And I would become restless with that. And so there's always, and I've been practicing, I do spend a lot of time in silent meditation. And one practice is at nighttime when I can't sleep. I stay pretty much in abidance, and that is increasing as time goes on. But yet, this particular body still has the restless tendency, like to get up and have a bowl of cereal or something. There's just it's, and I loved what Jean Klein said about meditation. He said, I read recently that it's 24/7 really, if you know who you are. And that made me feel more, I know this is a belief that I have around sitting and versus just being in living. You understand?
Yes, yes. Our contemplation changes us. Changes us. We find ourselves not what we used to be. In fact, contemplation brings us more and more into the freedom, more and more into this meditation without a meditator. So if you notice a certain restlessness about yourself that is not disturbing you, meaning you look for the next thing, it's not disturbing you, then what's the problem? The thought that it should be otherwise may arise for you, but if that thought just arises and dissolves and doesn't stay there, doesn't come and establish itself and then becomes a problem, you follow. So if the dynamics in your life are like images appearing on the screen isn't disturbed, so then there is no question. And the image you have about yourself doesn't matter, because you're not the image. Right?
Right. Right.
Now, on the other hand, if there is a disturbance, it's a good question to look at. It's a good thing to look at. What's happening? What is it that's being disturbed? Some thought arises saying things should be this way and not that way. Yeah. In one ear, out the other. Next, who cares? I'm not being defined by thoughts that arise. Because I know myself. To be undefinable. You can't define consciousness. What would define it? It's self-defining. It's self. It is itself. It's no other isness, but the isness of consciousness.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. It's like I can see that it's a belief. A belief is based on a belief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a belief.
Yeah.
When a belief has no branch to land on, it's dissolves in thin air, because we're not maintaining it. We just see it, but we don't define anything based on the belief. In particular, we're not going to define ourselves based on thought. What does thought know about us? Nothing. We know thought, but thought has zero knowingness. It's known. It's not knowing. So, an image, memory, right? It's not going to disturb the freedom of being. I'm not going for that. Right? I'm not going to say yes to some thought or disturbing presence. It's a joke. I haven't said no. No. You arise, you dissolve, fine. Right? I remain as I am.
Thanks, Magdi. This is very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. That's a wonder of consciousness, that I am that, and It's not something that is born or dies. So what's the concern? Bodies being born and dying, that's a dime a dozen, 10,000 a day. Thoughts, images arising and dissolving, 10,000 a day. Consciousness is. It doesn't arise or dissolve. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Okay. Well, very lovely to be with you all. Thank you for your lovely company, your friendship and your love for truth.
Thank you.
Namaste all. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.